Um, Hi, I'm Tande. I have been playing Final Fantasy XIV since ARR, off and on. I've been an Omnicrafter since around then too, uh, and I kind of missed some of Heaven's Ward, but I started really playing during Stormblood, and became really obsessive with crafting. We'll admit that. A little obsessive. I really like it. Anyways, welcome to my panel about how to not be bad at crafting. Hopefully, I'll have some information for you that is new or helpful. We'll see. This is based off of Endwalker 2022. Since some things have changed from X pack to X pack, give or take. But yeah, I did hold a similar panel last year. I was a cat boy then, but now I am an NPC because everyone loves Grandpa. But anyways, but why would you want to be a good crafter or even a crafter to begin with? Well, you see, there's currency involved. You can get money for items. It's pretty great. There's also glams hidden behind a bunch of uh, quests as well as just levels. Usually every X pack has a different clam for each class, including your lovely crafters and gatherers. It's pretty great. At least last X pack we had the Ishgard restoration, and yes, I was a saint every single time because I'm that obsessive. Uh, and Still working on getting my pterodactyl, but I'll get it sooner or later when I have the time. Anyways, beyond that, I mean, it's also just fun. I find a lot of entertainment in just sitting there and filling out my logs and making money and stuff. Yeah. Anyway, let's start with talking about what the classes even are. So there's blacksmith, armorer, culinarian, carpenter, leatherworker, alchemist, and weaver. These all have stats that are craftsmanship, control, and CP, which I think is like control points or whatever, um, or crafting points, one of the two. Uh, just like any other class, these stats will do different things. So, craftsmanship is just basically advancing the completion of your craft. The higher it is, the quicker your completion skills will go. Control advances quality. The higher the control, the easier it is to get high quality 100% or even higher. Oh, well, not higher, but close. It's really great for doing expert crafting and all this stuff. And then there's CP, which is just a general resource, just like MP or TP. We don't have that anymore, but we did at one point. Um, I always suggest people, and how I do my alts too, is I level them all together. So I'll usually do them by the towns. So, you have your Limsa and your Olda and your Gridania. So, especially blacksmith and armor are like right next to each other, so they're super easy to do. On top of that, you're going to have less wasted inventory space because as you go through the levels, they use about the same sort of uh, mats and stuff. Sorry. On top of that, you'll get free mats as well as free gear from your quests as you go. And then you can either get rid of them or desynth them as you don't need them anymore. If you're like me, I don't have that much armory space. I'll admit that. I have a lot of glammies on hand, so I have to be particularly careful about that. It gets even worse when you have like everything unlocked and you have all your weapons. I think like if you have a weapon for every class, you have like maybe 10 open spots for like random weapons just for glams or just whatever. Just a heads up. It just makes it easier to do that together. And then also crafting your own gear is really great. So if you're leveling everything together, you can do, weaver and get your top and bottoms made super easy, high quality, and that'll last you like a good 10, 20 levels, surprisingly. High quality is pretty great. Anyways, so yeah, that's basically the basics. I will say I also recommend people leveling gatherer classes at the same time. just for free mats, as well as, I mean, it's also something to do on your off time, sort of thing. It's something else to do instead of getting obsessively crafting like I can do sometimes. Anyways, so when you go to craft, it'll open up your crafting log, and depending on your levels, you'll have different levels unlocked. And for example, here is a item I could make, treated spruce lumber. And I guess here's just a layout of like what is what. Difficulty is just overall difficulty of the craft. I don't really pay attention to that very much until it's like super high. It's just kind of like a random number to me. What matters more is if there's characteristics down here, if you have a craftsmanship that's required or a control required. Those are stats you need to actually even start doing it, which is important. On top of that, like, durability is also another number you need to worry about. That's pretty much a resource where every time you use a skill that, or I guess not every skill, but most skills will take some durability when you're doing a touch or a synthesize. And when that hits 0, the craft breaks and you're out of the mats, and that's sad, and I cry. Quality, you can use high quality ingredients, which is getting like less and less applicable if you're doing like lumber or whatever. Things that you gather, you can no longer gather high quality stuff. So it's just based on like crafted stuff. And yeah, you can only get max 50%. And that is actually nice when you like are doing end game crafting stuff, to have that like base percentage of your quality there. On the bottom there of your crafting item, it'll have, you know, your options there: synthesize, your quick synth, which is only available with items available under a certain difficulty based on your current gear. It can kind of get kind of annoying because like level 90 stuff, you're the ones that like are, say, items that are more applicable to the current patch, you can't quick synth. So like every single lumber I need for a weapon that I'm throwing on the market board, I gotta sit here and craft. Thankfully that's what I use macros for, but yeah, it's hell. And then this little button is great. It's your trial synth, where you can just try out making it without using any items. And I mean, it won't produce an item, but say you're doing expert crafts and you want to figure it out, or you want to figure out if your macro even works, or even if it's possible that you can get something high quality without any high quality ingredients. You got your trial synth. It is amazing. I'm so happy they added that in there instead of having to fiddle around with like Garland data macro maker things to make sure that like I'm actually capable of doing something. So yeah. So when you actually go to craft, it'll pop up in a crafting window. A lot of it's sort of self-explanatory, but I guess we should probably go over anyways. Step doesn't really matter too much. It's just basically it'll progress your buffs. So like veneration here and innovation would go down 1 if I was go forward a step. Durability, like I said, that's just how long you have until it just busts and you're out your material. Progress is how far along you are on finishing the craft. And quality is what's the likelihood you're going to produce a high quality item. When it's maxed out, it's 100%. It's got, I will say, Final Fantasy XIV's high quality percentage thing is very, very, it's sometimes a jerk and sometimes not a jerk. Sometimes like I'll have like high quality at 15% and I'll be like, this isn't going to be high quality, and then it makes it high quality. Sometimes I'll have it at 95% and still get a normal quality item, and then I cry. Anyways, and then you have your condition. Condition is really great, and one of the biggest aspects to why I don't use macros for larger items or more expensive items. because there's 4 conditions. There's normal, good, excellent, and poor. If you're using a macro, you won't be able to really be certain that you're gonna get what you need when you're hitting like your final like quality skill. So you could be on poor, and that would basically ruin your entire macro. Good is basically, I don't want to say it doubles. I think it's like 1.5% of your quality if you're advancing quality, as well as there's some skills that will proc off of condition too, by the way. Excellent is like, I think, double, give or take. Sorry, I'm going to move myself. There we go. No. And poor is basically, I want to say it's like half. It's very sad when you accidentally hit Brygarts when you have poor. There's more conditions in Expertcraft, which I'm willing to go over at the end of this panel, but I don't think this panel is going to be covering too much about it. I'm more than happy to talk to people about it. I have done crafting like for Ishgard, as well as the relic quote quote tools that just look like Kentucky Fried Chicken items. Totally worth it. But yeah, anyways, so the crafting window will also have a little arrow here. If you hit it, it'll show you your current buffs, which is very nice. I usually just kind of look at the top of my screen. I can see them fine, but to have them all in one place and know exactly the number, because I know they can be kind of small, easier to read when they're right here. And finally, you have your calculations, which is also really great. It'll basically tell you what skill you're using. Will give you what. Say you need more quality, you hit quality, and you can see what you need to do, or what if you did X or Y, it would give you A or B. Number wise. It's very nice. That's a more recent addition that has basically made my life a lot easier. So. I'm assuming not all of you are 0 level crafters, but I do a lot of alt levelings, and I know some of you probably are. So we can go over leveling for early level. I usually start off with doing quests and crafting log. You'd be amazed how far the quest and crafting log can get you. The crafting log will give you bonus experience every time you craft something for the first time. And if you make it high quality, or you have more steps, or put more effort into it, I don't know, it's kind of weird. You'll also get more XP, which is very nice. Very nice. Quests will also be fairly easy from 1 to 30, with incredibly easy turn-ins. You can either buy them off the board or make them. They're honestly not hard to make. You'll get free gear. And another good bonus about doing the quests and doing your crafting log at the same time is each guild will have an NPC with items for early on, or mats. Will have early on mats for items that you make in your crafting log. So you can just sit there, and I can literally get like 0 to 30 in like 20 minutes because I'm just doing crafting log stuff and quests. It's very nice. Levs are also an option. You just have to unlock them on whatever you're at. And then turn in stuff. High quality will give you double. And you can generally find someone somewhere to sell you some items if you don't want to take the time to make them. I know there's people who will buy and sell lev kits. It's just time to put in to do that. I'm not against it. It's very nice when you don't have the time to do it yourself. And finally, you have supply missions, which you unlock at your grand company, and they will give you GC credits, which is amazing when you're making alts and you're trying to get enough GC credits to unlock apartments or something, and boom, pretty much free GC credits for that. You don't have to do any fate grinding or any of that stuff. Again, it's double XP if you're turning in high quality items, which is very nice. Yeah. And those are done daily, by the way. And they're usually turn-ins based off of your current level at the reset. So I definitely would do them before you start doing all this other stuff. And like do it like at the start of your day playing kind of stuff. Later leveling, you'll be able to unlock collectibles. That's a level 50 requirement. I think you unlock it in Mordona. You basically just throw on Collector's Hand or whatever it's called, and you make a collector item and turn it in to Rowena's whatever it's called. She will take it and give you scripts, and you can use the scripts to buy gear, and that's fantastic. Custom deliveries, they're all unlocked at random points. I think the earliest you'll get is Slowy, and I think that's like level 58 or 56, one of the two. It's kind of like a weird number if I remember right. It might be 60. And then usually there's one or two each X pack. Right now we just got the mom, and I did not dress her up. I swear I didn't. But yeah, she gives you a really good glam. So, so you have a weekly limit of 12 allowances for that, and that's shared between gatherers and crafters. Just a heads up. You also have your Ishgard Restoration, which unlocks at level 60. It's end story requirements. And your crafter class has to be level 20 for turn-ins. That's also a super valid way of leveling, especially since you get your Sky Builder points that you can turn in for stuff you can sell on the market board, and that's like free money. It's very nice, especially when you're gathering from the Ishgard Restoration 2 at the same time. You level pretty fast there, to be honest, for both fishing and, your other classes. So, but again, you also have your class quests. And I swear there is a skill that you get like at level 68 that makes it worth it. And it's like manipulation. And manipulation is something I use for almost everything. So I definitely would suggest doing your class quest. You get free gear. Especially after level 60, you don't have to use any mats. They give you the mats. Except for, I think for I can't remember what it's called in Shadowbringers, the circle where they have like the different grouped class quests, quote, quote. Those you have to provide your own mats, but the class, it's whatever. And you get free scripts, so yeah. So gear. Let me just start with don't worry about materia until you're max level. Don't worry about, let me say that again, don't worry about materia until you're max level, especially since as soon as you hit like 50, 52, each like step every 10 levels is immense. It's this, if you just switch out gear, you don't really need to worry about stats. It's very nice. Most gear is shared between all crafters, except for specific script gear that is usually, it's just mostly script stuff. And like I have my character right now wearing one that's for gemsmithing, I think. It's very, I like the popped collar. He's very handsome. Anyways, so big points to upgrade. I usually will upgrade everyone at level 30. I say level 30 because that's when you can unlock desynthing, and then you get free mats from old gear that you no longer need. Definitely unlock desynthing, especially if you just want free mats. And you also get free crystals, which, by the way, I didn't mention either. If you do your class quests, you get free crystals too at, I think, like 50, 60, and whatever. It's very nice. Anyways, once you are max level, you can worry about materia. I would definitely, unless you're going to be crafting like the current patch stuff, and even now with Endwalker, the crafts are, I think they're so easy you don't need to have Penta meld. Like I went above and beyond with this. I don't know why. It's obsession. Anyways, so your priorities with materia is you're gonna want CP until max. A lot of them will only be like 1, so just plan accordingly. And then you want control, and then you want craftsmanship. So yeah, I spent a lot of money on all this materia, and I don't know why. Well, I do know why. It's because I'm obsessive. Anyways, so master recipes. You get these unlocked through scripts for the most part. The latest ones, I think it's just 9, cost purple script. And many older ones aren't entirely worth it unless you're into like glams and housing items or a completionist. Book 3 you will need for Heavensward quest lines. Just a heads up. It's like 100 scripts, not even. It's super easy. Book 2 is bullshit. I will say that much. You have to like make high quality items, and it's just like so random. It's You have to go out of your way to do it. These items that aren't even worth it. Um, I don't even think there's anything entirely worth it in the recipe books for book 2, but yeah, it's bullshit. Uh, um, all right, so skills. There are a lot of skills, and this is probably why people get really overwhelmed with crafting. It's probably the skills. They all are very intimidating, but really, if you just kind of split them down to, they all kind of like split down to their own thing. Like you have your synth skills, which are craftsmanship related. You got your touch skills, which are control related, and then you have a bunch of buffs and all that other stuff. It's just like any other class. Some of the buffs are kind of similar, as in like they help with durability or any other resource. There's a buff that gives you free CP if you just hit it when you're on a good status. That's very nice. Um, you no longer have to really worry about reflect or inner quiet because that's automatically applied when you start crafting now. Stats up. That's yeah. So yes, but yeah, this looks a little intimidating. I want to say that what separates the good crafters and the bad crafters are knowing which are important, which are not so important. That's how you be not bad at crafting. Uh, so you have your starters. There's a couple skills that will give you things that you can only use at either your first turn or very early on in your craft. That would be reflect, muscle memory, and trained eye. I think that's it. I could be wrong. I might be missing one. Reflect will give you 2 stacks of inner quiet, or maybe it's 3. I think they changed it with Endwalker since you get inner quiet at the beginning, anyways. So it's not that it used to be my starter for almost everything. Oh, it's 3. Thank you. It's 3. um, so I mean, it could be worth it. It could also not be worth it. I used to use it as a starter for everything. We had many talks with some static friends about, do you start with reflect or muscle memory? Muscle memory gives you free progress at the beginning. It's a big chunk, I will admit that, and I believe it gives you a buff for your next progress related skill. So if you're doing something that is very chunky in regards to how long it would take you to craft progress wise, that's worth it. Trained eye is a very interesting thing. It basically, any item that is 10 levels below your current level, you hit that button and you get high quality 100%. So when like I have like friends who are like, man, I really need new gear. I'm level 60 or something. I'm like, oh yeah, here, let me make it for you. And they're like, don't do that. It takes you time. And it's like, no, it takes me a single button press to make it high quality for you, honey. Like, take it. Like, seriously. So, yeah, it'll do you good. I'll say that much. I really like Trained Eye. Yeah. And then you have your ending combos, which are usually just innovation, great strides, and then your blessing here. It's the best. So, well, let me translate this. Innovation will give you a bonus to your touch skills, or I guess skills related to quality. Great strides does the same thing. Your next touch skill will do, I want to say double. So you add these together, and it's like times 3, give or take. I don't remember. I'm bad at math. I don't look at numbers. I just make sure it will work, and then it works. Um, and then you do Brigand's Blessing, which will use all your inner quiet stacks to basically do a big touch action. So that's basically your big ending combo, and then I usually end it with like a single like progress skill. Like I think I just have basic synth. That's why I have basic synth on my bar, if you're wondering. Anyways, so like I said, there are skills that are separated into synthing and focusing. Synthing will progress your progress, and focusing is your quality related items. Some of these will combo off each other. I want to say it's basic touch, standard touch, and precise. One of these. There's a 3 combo technically for crafters. It's kind of crazy. One I use a lot, just because I'm lazy, is Rapid Synth and Hasty Touch. These will get you pretty far. They cost you no CP. If you're using certain buffs, they won't cost you any durability, or they'll only cost you half durability if you're using the proper buffs. But yeah. I'm trying to remember why I said Train Finesse is so great. I don't remember why. But another one I use a lot is Delicate Synth, because it will progress both progress and quality. So you can just, for, what is it, like 32 CP? Yeah. And then also another one that I always keep on my bar is Precise Touch, because that will proc when you are your condition is good or excellent, and will it's just it's good for its cost. And then you have your utility skills. These would be Innovation, Veneration, Tricks of the Trade, Observe, Final Appraisal, and then we're going to go over Specialists later, so try to ignore those right now. Innovation and Veneration are kind of the same, different sides of the same coin. They will buff either your next touch action, or I guess the next 4 touch actions, or the next 4 synth actions. They're nice to have at the beginning, or I guess near the end when you have more inner quiet stacks, and therefore you're gonna have higher quality just from your touch actions. Tricks of the Trade gives you free CP when you're on good or excellent. It'll give you 20 CP. It has saved me multiple times. That's definitely something to keep on your bar. Observe, you basically wait a turn. This will change your status. So it will say you're on like a poor and you want to be on a normal. You just hit that and you're fine. It's also good for baiting out certain statuses. The best example would be expert crafting. But say you need good to make sure you're getting high quality 100%. Boom, just observe. But there's also a specialist version of this that costs no CP and does not advance your why can't I think of the term, the step count, I guess. So it doesn't advance your buffs. But it uses a crafter's delineation, which is an item you get from scripts. So I usually have like a good chunk of them on hand. They're super cheap. They're like 5 scripts a pop. You can use this 3 times, I think, and then observe you can use as many times as you want. Careful observation was basically what got me through Ishgard Restoration. I'll say that much. I would just swap to my specialist, because you can swap your specialist a couple times a week. But yeah. And then Final Appraisal is something they recently added in. It basically stops your item from hitting max progress. So say you have something you want to make sure is going to be high quality, but your synth actions are going to basically finish your craft. You hit Final Appraisal, it'll stop your craft at 1 progress before finishing, and then you can work on your quality to get 100% or higher. it's nice. And then the other specialist skill I put up here was heart and soul. It basically there's a bunch of skills that proc only when you're good or excellent for status. These will allow for them. I have not used it very much, but I feel like after looking at it, I'm like, why haven't I used it? It might be one of those like secret things for next X pack or not next patch to make sure I get high quality rating gear. So yeah. I just realized we finished the thing. I will explain specialist stuff real quick. In regards to specialist, you unlock that in Ishgard, and you get 3, and they're basically like they give you a soul stone, and you get extra CP, and then you get those 2 skills, and then just make sure to have crafter's delineation on hand, and boom, you're good. So yeah, if there were any questions you guys had for me, I'm more than happy to take them either in the let's go with in game first, and then I'll look at sorry, and then I'll look at final appraisal. Yep. Yeah, final appraisal does not advance your step counts or buffs, which is also very nice. They are it's separate. The specialists are unlocked separate from Ishgard Restoration and level 60 quests. They were actually something introduced, I think, in Heaven's Ward, and they had a little bit different rules where you could only make certain items if you were a specialist, which was kind of annoying at first, but I think it was kind of nice because it brought the crafting community together. Oh yeah, step count doesn't matter. Don't worry about step count. It's this needless number, I guess. It's just something to know if you're going to be advancing your buff counters. A good place to start with levels. What is a good place to start with level 90 gear? Should I get a full purple script sets or have someone make gear, or try to make gear myself? So I made my level 90 gear when I first during the first patch of Endwalker. I made it with my level 80 gear from last X Pack, if that says anything about how easy it is. There's I'm trying to remember the name of it. Actually, I can probably check right now. I think it's the faucet stuff. Is that what it's called? Let me look. It might actually be in the books. Anyways, I think the weapons are 89, but you can get 91s now. Yeah, so I would definitely start with. You could probably get someone to make it for you. Usually when I'm asking other crafters to make something for me, I provide the mats, every single mat they'll need, plus the crystals. Don't forget the crystals. You'd be amazed at how nice it is to provide crystals to crafters. So yeah, hopefully that helps. What is my favorite food to craft? I like well, that's hard. I'm gonna admit I'm really bad at Culinarian. I don't like Culinarian because it takes so many random mats. But because I'm Emmett, I'm gonna have to say it's the soup, the Garlean soup with wine in it. That's just it's supposed to be in character. That's why. And then what crafters make the most money? I'm gonna say glam related ones. Sorry. So glam related ones would be weaver, leather worker. Those are usually a good assumption. That's what the new glam related items are going to be made with. People like glams, especially on roleplay servers, if you're on one. Other than that, I will say I have seen prices as a goldsmith for that kind of stuff, especially like rings, since people need 2 rings. Hint, hint. and plus on top of that, the mats are fairly simple. So that might be a good place to start, especially with low level goldsmith stuff. Do you think crafters have to be pentamelded when the next crafting sets come out? I always assume so. Um, but the last X Pack and Endwalker have made it too. I don't want to say too easy because it's more welcoming to newcomers. I want to say it's yeah, it is easier, I guess. But you don't need to be pentamelted anymore. I think that was more important in Stormblood. It was like something you had to do to get like the recent rating stuff done. Um, but nowadays, I don't think you need to. Uh, it's expensive, and you can usually get your quality to 100% without it, so long as you are you have like level 10 materia in your gear. That's usually how it goes. I will say some crafting macros require you to have certain stats. Just keep an eye out for that when you're looking at macros if you are a macro person. Yeah. What's the most difficult thing you had to craft? How long did it take for you to craft said item? In Stormblood, making airships was hell. It was it was hell. You had to have a group of 4 people in the workshop. Um, they all had to be like crafting classes, and it takes a lot of material. They've simplified it so much. It's so nice. You don't have to have a group of 4 people anymore, and you just throw materials at it, and it makes you an airship. It's very nice. But yeah, I would say that was probably hard. That or any of the Stormblood rating gear when it first came out. I don't think there's anything off the top of my head recently that was super hard besides the expert crafting stuff for Ishgard Restoration, as well as the title that I have is from getting all the crafter weapons from that too. the the ones that look like KFC weapons. Uh, that definitely took a lot of time, and it was every item, like every 1 out of 2 items would just be broken or not worth turning in. I will say that much. But nowadays it's easier since you're 10 levels higher. Um, what is your least favorite crafter to level? Culinarian, Culinarian, Culinarian is the worst. Culinarian is the worst. Sorry. So is Alchemist. I want to say it's because they use a lot of items that you get from monster hunting, as well as leatherworkers. Also, but not as obtuse as Culinarian. Culinarian, especially for like the level 45 and 50 item turn-ins for your quest line. There's so much stuff you have to gather, and then you just make it. It's yeah. My favorite is probably Weaver or Carpenter, but I'm biased because I really like the guild leader of the Carpenter. His name is Beatus. That's all I have to say. Um, when you're crafting something, do you usually gather the mats from scratch, or do you buy the lumber or ingots or cloth from the market board? So this is a good question. I have a lot of friends who will help me gather stuff. I will recently these days I have taken to just buying it from the market board. I will say if you do the beast tribes for ARR and Heavensward, if you do them all the way through, it will unlock the ability to buy like steel ingots and some other stuff, which is worthwhile doing. They have also made it so you can buy a lot of items from certain NPCs. Easiest way to tell is your item will have a shop selling price listed. Just make sure to look at that and then compare it to the market board value. Another thing I'll do is kind of gauge based on how much items it'll take to make. versus like how expensive it is just to buy it off the market board. Just be smart about it. Like, don't buy like dark steel ore that takes like it takes 3 to make a dark steel nugget. Don't buy it when it's like 600 gil a pop when dark steel nuggets are 500 a pop. Like, it just makes more sense to buy the nuggets, you know. Um, how do you manage inventory space with all the mats? I have 5 5 retainers. Retainers are nice. Leveling wise, like I said, the easiest way to do this is make sure to level things all at the same time. So you kind of have the same gauge of items available to you. Um, I definitely recommend that. And is Alchemist a worthwhile crafter to level? Yes. It not only so the thing with like Alchemist and Culinarian is they make expendable items that crafter or raid people and crafters will be buying constantly. I know a lot of raiders who don't even have any crafters leveled, so they just buy it off the market board. So you got your tinctures and your food, and they're always going to be coming back. Um, so that's a big bonus. The problem is, I since I'm not in the market of it very often, I also would be cautious of it because that's where most bots go. So if they're gonna tank, like, that's also where it feels like a lot of vindictive crafters go to, is like, oh, you're gonna post 50 gil cheaper than me, well, I'm gonna crash the entire market. I feel that might just be me stereotyping it, but yeah, I think it's worthwhile, but only at the max level. And how important is manipulation to endgame crafting? Well, thank you, Sir Estinian, for that question. It is very important. So manipulation basically restores 5 points of durability after each step for the next 8 steps. That gives you 40 points of durability for a CP cost of 96. But it's over time. So I usually say it's like, oh, it makes Hasty Touch cost 5 instead of 10. Um, so it's one of those things that you unlock at level 65, and I promise it's worthwhile. It's the one thing that is worthwhile in life. It's manipulation, which sounds incredibly like weird and toxic of a name, but it's totally, yeah. Um, does it restore durability when I use things like yeah, it does. Observe and innovation, yes, it does restore durability when you use those skills. So yeah. And yeah, you do promise to do all your quests. You better. How am I so good looking? Well, you see, I'm Emmett Stelch. That's how I'm so good I'm looking. I'm just so handsome. I am the sorcerer of Eld, and I have aged well like fine wine. That's why. Would you say it's more efficient to get materials from leveling gatherers or just buying them off the market board? I personally, if you're leveling your gatherers, you might as well do it anyways. Might as well get the items anyways. Since you're doing it so closely, like if you do it at the same time as your crafters, you're gonna get items that you need for crafters around that same level. So it just makes sense. Especially since when you were like, say you need like 99 spruce lumber, it's just a lot cheaper to go and use maybe like 10 minutes of your time to go get it instead of buying it off the market board for like 100k. It sounds weird to say like it costs money, or it to make money you have to spend money, but at the same time spend it wisely. Don't spend it so like nimbly bimbly. Just which one has the most interesting storyline? I feel like people are gonna hate me for this, but I'm one of those cutscene skippers. Especially since I've done them so many times. As for like the best storyline that I like can dine from like the few times I've actually paid attention to like crafter storylines, the Weaver ones are usually pretty cute, especially the Weaver one in Stormblood. I think that one's cute. You make like cute little items for pretty girls. Um, but yeah. What's the best way to gain materia for your endgame craft gear? That's a really good question. So, um, if you haven't, go unlock Materia Extraction. Um, Material Extraction, basically, you just have a status on your gear that's like soul binding, I think it's called. And when you get it to 100%, use a Materia Extraction, and it will give you um, free materia. Usually around that level, so you can get 10s or 9s when you have level 90 gear. So that's free materia right there, and all you have to do is sit there and either auto make lumber for a bit. There are some items that will boost the rate of spirit bond or soul binding. Um, like I think it's King's Cake, and there's an alchemy item, which makes it like a lot quicker. For a while there, I was like taking mats and making them just so I would get free materia, because materia at the beginning of an X pack is stupid expensive. Another good way of doing it is um, scripts. Scripts will definitely give you materia. Usually, I think level 10s and 9s might be purple script. I could be wrong. It might be the other way around, where 9 is white script and 10 is purple scripts. And you'll be going through more 9s than 10s if you're penta melding. Also, a thing about materia is also be smart about it, too. Since you have a limit of what stat you can have on an item when you go to melt, don't use like a level 9 when you only need like 2 CP. You could use like a level 2 or materia 2. That will get you that CP you need. Spirit Bond Potion. Yeah, that's the name of it. Do you think I should finish MSQ before trying to level up my crafters? I'm starting to overlevel my gatherers and can't do the next class quest until I get to Stormblood. I mean, you don't have to. That's a nice thing that they did unlock, I think, with I think it was with Shadowbringers. They unlocked it where you can get your crafters and gatherers higher than your main class. So you still could do Ishgard Restoration while you're not even in Stormblood yet. But yeah, I think it's still worthwhile. If you like it, just keep doing it. I know people who just fish in this game. Like, there are people who are like, I love fishing. I want to go fishing. Let's go fishing. And will spend their time fishing for hours on end in Final Fantasy XIV because it's fun. So, I mean, if you find it fun, do it. But yeah, as someone who hasn't done crafting at all, is it late for me to start doing It is never too late. Xeon's right there. Always, it's never too late. I do it on alts just for fun because I'm a monster. I think it's never too late, especially since you can repair your own gear when you hit 90 or 80. I think it's 80. You can repair your own gear. That'll save you a bunch of money. You make your own stuff. It's fantastic. Even if you're not gonna like be a crafter on the market board 24/7, you can still level your crafters to level 90, and they'll still be useful to you. That's the thing about crafting. Same thing with gathering. I mean, it's not as good, but it's still has its bonuses. What's a good way to use my white script so they don't cap? Materia. Buy level 9s. Stash them away. I would spend it on control, personally. That's usually where I go. Is the control with my weeklies, since I don't really need anything from the script lady anymore. I just grab materia. Yeah. Is Ishgard Restoration a viable way to level crafting if you're not leveling gathering in the diadem? It is. You just have to buy stuff off the market board, which might not be worthwhile price-wise now, especially since I know some mats will only drop from monsters there when you're like level 60 gathering, or else you have to like specifically like ask for them or specifically mine for them. And so those are like the expensive items. You can still do it. It might just be a lot harder nowadays with prices. I definitely would encourage server hopping to do price checks. Um, Let me check Twitch real quick. Uh, if anyone has any questions on Twitch, I'm more than happy to answer. Yeah, ocean fishing was super fun. I definitely have spent way too much time ocean fishing. First 90 was Fisher. We have a samurai in my static who didn't level his crafters at all, and he couldn't repair his own gear. But he did get Fisher to 90 pretty easily with ocean fishing. So I mean, how bad could it be? What material will we likely need the most for the remaining Pentamelons and Endwalker? Craftsmanship X's or Control 9s? I would say Control 9s or 10s are usually the good thing to grab. I don't really want to say Craftsmanship, especially with how easy some of these things are. So here I'm Penta-Melded. Let me look at how much Craftsmanship I have. I have 3,657. If I go to most recent stuff, let's see what it says. I need 3,180. So I'm a little overpowered there. I don't exactly need that much. Yeah. I don't know how it's gonna be in the next couple of weeks when we finally get that patch with the new well, we're gonna get new crafter right hand side and new raid gear. But I assume it's not gonna be a 800 jump. Like, I don't think it's super important. My biggest accomplishment as a crafter is the title I'm wearing right now. I did expert crafts for like a month straight. I had someone in my static help me with getting food and tinctures for crafting them for my KFC weapons, which are technically quote quote best in slot for Shadowbringer, but but it's not that important now because it was like the last like 2 or 3 months of Shadow bringers, so like no one was buying stuff. But I like them. They're goofy looking. Yeah. Um, Poor crafters are level 30. Well, if they're level 30, you can go unlock Desynthane. Desynthane is wonderful. And you don't even need to be like higher level now to desynth items that are super high level. So like if you get items from like level 90 stuff, you can totally nix totally desynth that level 90 stuff even if your crafters are level 30. They have to be level 30 at least. Yeah, that's why I usually say get to level 30 first and then worry and then you know get your gear and stuff then for level 30 and then higher. I am new to crafting gathering in 14. What gear and tools do you recommend for leveling? Plus, what is the fastest way to level? Fastest way to level. The fastest way to level is at the beginning is going to be your quest and your crafting log. Like I said, crafting log is going to give you extra experience for each time you craft an item for the first time. And then quests give you a outrageous amount of XP. You can get to level 30 real easy. So, and I think that's the point where you need to get to for at least all your crafters before you get anywhere else. How good, bad, or easy slash hard is Carpenter? Wait, for making money, with Carpenter, definitely make housing items. Housing items there will sell super well, especially if you're on an RP server or if they just dropped, the Ishgard housing stuff. Like, just hit the market at like smart points. So, how do you handle my retainer management being a crafter main? So I have those 5 retainers. They are all full. They are all at 175. What I do is I literally just pop open my when I get new items or when I'm desynthing new items and they give me new stuff. I literally just go through my inventory and try to sounds so nerdy. I'm sorry. Um, and try to store them. And if they can't store, then I don't already have that item available. Um, so yeah, that's how I do it. Otherwise, as you can see, my inventory is still full. I have like all my the stuff I need to pay attention to, like materia and all that stuff wise in my saddlebag, and then inventory is usually current stuff I'm crafting, which if I told you, would have to murder you because it's how I'm making all my money now. um, what's the best way to level desynth skill? Just desynth. Uh, you just keep using desynth. Here, let me show the inventory. Um, just that Alchemist desynth. Oh, Alchemist desynth would be Alchemist made items, which honestly aren't that much. Um, which are like scholar books, and summoner books. It sucks. Um, yeah, they I think that's the hardest one to level desynth wise. Um, how important are food buffs for crafters? They're only really important when you need the extra stats. I probably have. I only have, I think, last X-Pex on me, which is a bunch of chili crab that I got from my friend Ayame. And that's enough for me to get by. I usually go with the ones that give you more CP and more control. I don't really need to worry about craftsmanship, so. What made you want to start crafting and then do it again? Money. You get a lot of gil. A lot. Making, like, just random stuff. You'd be surprised. Like, when you go to do your, like, crafter quests, just make double of what you need and then put it on the market board. Because, I mean, you're probably either gathering or buying the items and making it. Just make double what you need, throw it on the market board. People are usually too lazy to do that crafting themselves. And that's easy money for you. How many times were you asked to make the best item to make gil? If I told you that, I'd have to kill you. So unfortunately, I will not reveal how I make all my gil. But I will hint that it's something I did mention during this talk. He's still eating vintage chili crab. All right, so we have 3 minutes left. So if there's any other important questions you want to hit me up with, I do have my Twitter, which is at @elysiumtan. Let me scroll all the way back. I had it on here. No, I don't. I'm a liar. It's here. I'm gonna type it in chat. Yeah. Oh, there's nothing slotted afterwards. Yeah. So if people have more questions, I'm more than happy to continue. But yeah, my Twitter is at Elysium, ELYSIUM tan TAN. No space between it. I'm happy to take any questions there, or you can hit me up on Discord. I am in the LunarCon Discord right now. You'll find me under Emmett, Mattias. But yeah, I got a note that I could extend if you guys have more questions. When during the expansion cycle is it best to tackle the Skyward challenge? Do you mean getting your pterodactyl? Or okay, your pterodactyl, oh man, I'm still working on mine. I feel like an absolute fraud for not having a pterodactyl yet. I'm very close. I need to do gathering stuff mostly. It's a super rough one. Whenever I see someone have it, I'm like, they are a no-lifer. I thought I was a poop sucker on Final Fantasy 14. They are the true poop sucker. But yeah, spread it out. It's hard. It's hard to say, especially now. It's kind of weird because gatherers I feel is easier now because you get more items instead of high quality items, which you never got high quality items in diadem anyways. So it's slightly easier now that you have higher stats too. Um, yeah. How are you tackling that? Do you have a good method for getting points? So what I did was I'm obsessive about titles, so I went back through and made 100 I think it's 100, yeah, 100 items for each step of the expert crafting stuff. Sorry, my mind blank. So I got all the titles there, and then you need to do 500,000 for each crafter, and that itself is just grinding. Um, and yeah, it's a good method for getting points. There's no really good method. I'm gonna be honest. Um, I think with gatherers, especially fisher, it's more important to be more reliant on the weather because they have the etheric whatever burst there, weather-wise, and that's how you get like really high expensive fish. That's also another reason to have desynth leveled. Desynthing fish from diadem will give you diadem materials for crafting. It's very nice. Um, One last question: are the augmented ironworks crafting and gathering sets worth making? For glam, I used to make them to sell because that was like a good like stop in regards to like I think it's like level 60, right? Um, and you can get all the items fairly easily from like GC seals and maybe some scripts. Um, and they're okay glam. They're really goofy looking. They have you get like the tightest shorts. Um, I think they're worth it, but only if you really want the glam or if you're going to make high quality to try to sling on the market board. So, um, yeah. But yeah, there is a pterodactyl mount, and it's very hard to get. Um, Sorry if I missed any questions. I'm trying to look back through. Um, Otherwise, my dog is freaking out over my neighbor. I'm sorry. The fishing community is super welcoming. Yeah, fishing is super fun. I will admit that I could do ocean fishing forever. I wish it didn't have the time, like requirement. Like you have to wait like every 2 hours to do it. That's the only thing I don't like. Um, but yeah, um, yeah. Hopefully that's it. I am going to go get some boba. I'm happy that you all came and listened to me ramble about something I love doing. I'm more than happy to take more questions, either in Discord or on Twitter. But yeah, thank you for coming, and I hope you guys have a great rest of LunarCon.